Hey there, welcome. Sharon Horne-Ellstrom here. Welcome to day 1834 of What You Up To Now, documenting the journey primarily as I transitioned originally in 2017 from the brick and mortar corporate world of business to the online world of business. Spent over a quarter century in corporate America while simultaneously running, owning, operating, building, growing, and supersizing businesses in at least 27 different industries. I kind of lost count. And since I've come online in 2017, totally lost count of how many businesses I've been growing and impacting and being a part of, both in the online and offline world. But nowadays, one of my favorite things to do is challenges. And we're doing an annual challenge this year. This is our 6th year in a row doing an annual challenge. And this year's is the Get Your Goals annual challenge. Hannah, a friend of mine, recommended that we do goals this year. And I think it was a great idea and a great topic. And of course, I'm going to take that and make that my own. How do I go about doing my goals? I'll share that. But the purpose and the point of the challenge is to help you to get what you want in every area and aspect of your life. So we'll focus on the different areas and aspects of our life 1 month at a time. This month has been a very big overview, general month about goals. We talked about a bunch of different goal frameworks, I think 15, 16. We talked about 15 and then we created our own goal framework. How are we going to deal with goals going forward? And then today, and the last 4 days of this month, I decided I would share the SOAP framework. Why? It's my favorite framework. Why is it my favorite? Because it's my own framework. And it was born out of my personal desire and necessity to deal with changes and challenges and roadblocks and obstacles and problems and crap that came up in my life. And believe me, I've had my fair share of junk that has happened in my lifetime. And I'm not going to burden you with all that, but I'm sure if you know me long enough, you'll hear little bits and pieces about the stories. And if you want to know more, just ask. I've got really a diverse background and a diverse history with a lot of different things, both chronic pain, illnesses, crazy stuff. I had a sudden cardiac arrest in 2010 and died, yet I'm still here, bopping along and talking. So we talked about the SOAP framework, and today we talked about the P in the SOAP framework, which stands for progress, which is how do you know if you're moving toward what you want or not with respect to this particular challenge? How do I know if I'm making progress or not? And so we took an action yesterday, and then today we're going to say, well, how do I know if it moved me toward what I want or away from what I want? And I talked about mine. I'm working on, I've got heart surgery coming up this year, don't know when, which is a little bit annoying. It's nice to know if you can schedule and plan out things like that, but and I like to plan things. So it's a challenge for me personally to deal with the unknown of not knowing when it's going to happen. But I know it's going to happen. I'm personally hoping for the end of the year, like August, September time frame. Would be best for me personally, but you never know. Well, it'll happen when it happens. Probably when my surgeon's available, because that seems to be the way it is these days. Is we're hurry up and waiting for the different medical professionals that we can get access to, which is better than 2020 when we couldn't get access to anybody, right? Unless we had COVID. So progress. How do I know if I'm moving toward what I want? So I took a couple actions yesterday. I set up my doctor appointment with my surgeon and I scheduled an echocardiogram. So I actually know that I made progress toward my goal for that experience, that upcoming exciting experience. I'm looking at it as exciting now. A lot of people are like, oh my God, my son asked me the other day, he goes, well, how do you feel about that? Which was a great question, by the way. I wonder where he learned that. How do you feel about that? And I said, you know what? I'm okay with it. A lot of unknowns, but I've been through it before. So I guess I like to think that if I've been through something once, I can do it again. So I'm not like super scared of it, but I'd be fibbing if I said I'm not a little bit concerned or anxious. I like to know how things are going to go before they happen. And I think that comes out of dropping dead and not knowing what happened, that I have that desire to know, well, what the heck's going to go on this time? So are we making progress? And then to kind of go along with that, I'm trying to use an idiom for supersize your business for entrepreneurs that ties into the annual challenge a little bit. I did it last year, and frankly, it helped me out a lot. It made my content creation and things a lot easier, because if I narrow down the 20 million English idioms, there's 20 million idioms in the English language alone. If I could narrow down that 20 million and have a topic or something, and if it coincides with the annual challenge, that helps me, because it helps me to learn and go more in depth about the topic that I'm dealing with and talking about in the challenge, as well as it makes it easier for me to create content. Plus, I'm curious about what things mean, where they came from, and how I could use them to grow and build and supersize my businesses and to help other people do the same thing. So today's was make a splash. And of course, I don't know why, but a lot of these idioms, the ones from the 20th century, which is interesting to me because we should have the best information that could have been put into the internet so we could find the origin of these idioms if they're newer idioms, but that seems to be just the opposite of what's actually going on, unless there's some filtering or something that's preventing us from knowing why or what the origin of these things were. But to make a splash, murky, don't know exactly where it came from. I personally think it came from throwing stuff in water. Probably Boston Tea Party, right? Threw those barrels in a tea and made a big splash. Got people's attention, right? And that's the whole meaning and purpose of the idiom and the expression, to make a splash. You want to get people's attention, usually in an exciting way. And I shared a handful of businesses, how they have gone about doing that. Some do their own PR. A lot of them have to do with marketing, right? Their own PR, a cult-like following, a charismatic leader, doing events. Red Bull, does these crazy and sponsors extreme events like extreme sports and things. So I gave a handful of those so that we can say, okay, well, how could we maybe use some of that, lessons we've learned from other people, to get attention, make a splash for our own business and our own marketing efforts. So that's it. It is Tuesday in my neck of the woods. Not sure what day it is that you're listening or that you're hearing this. But it's really, 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 really cold in Wisconsin. So I think I'm going to hunker down, work on next month's challenge layout and framework. What do I want to talk about each day of the challenge? I like to map it out a month ahead so that I've got an idea of what I'm going to cover, and then I just research and talk about it every day, just like everybody else does, right? I do something every day to move my life in the direction I want it to go, and that's really the purpose of this challenge. All right, that's all I've got. If I can help you in any way, ask. If you've got any business-related or not business-related questions that I might have experience with, ask. If I don't know, I'll help you get hooked up with the expert or the person that can help you answer that. All right, have a great day, and I'll, of course, be with you tomorrow.